item number 64, which is the ability to discuss and take an action if requested. Number 64, which is the lawsuit. City Attorney, I would imagine without any direction, you would work under past directions and just move forward with filing an appeal in this lawsuit. Is that correct?
Typically, we would do that. This case, I know, has a lot of strong opinions, and we welcome the opportunity to hear from the council if that's what you like. I know that there are many paths forward to try and implement policy goals of the council, and we do recommend a suit to get that.
You're fading in and out. Yeah.
Sorry, we do recommend filing an appeal in the lawsuit. There are many things that we can do to go forward with working through revising the land development code, but we feel the clarity in the lawsuit would be important.
Okay. And it's good for us to discuss this if people want to, and but we don't have to take action in order for that to happen, because that would be the natural course given the prior action, unless I'm wrong about that. But what I would say is that I support the appeal, but I think that the real emphasis and attention right now needs to be us all discussing these issues and trying to see if there's a good resolution for the community that enables us to get to a better place outside of and without regard to that appeal. I think it's important to have the appeal just to have some legal questions decided about how comprehensive planning is done. But I don't want that to slow us down or hinder us from continuing in our conversations about how to be able to advance the ball. That's where I am on this. Any further discussion on this issue? Okay. Yes, Councilmember Alter.
Councilmember Poole, were you going to make a motion?
I'm sorry, we're on 64, is that right?
That's correct.
Yes.
Poole, do you want to make a motion?
I do. So my motion is to I've got so much stuff in front of me. I move to direct the city manager to take no further action on the appellate court regarding the Acuna versus City of Austin judgment.
Been a motion from Councilmember Poole. Is there a second to that motion? Councilmember Alter seconds that motion. Councilmember Poole, do you want to address it?
I think it pretty much speaks to.
Muted.
I think it's not to appeal speaks to our support for the findings in the 201st District Court. Judge Soifer spoke fairly concisely and briefly to the issues, the procedural issues. Her findings were that the City of Austin had not, in fact, followed state law. I agree with that finding. In fact, some of us on the dais have argued, sometimes vociferously, publicly and privately, against the chosen path that the city has taken on the Land Development Code by excluding protest rights, by denying protest rights, where the plain interpretation of the law in the local government code and state statute clearly says that zoning changes do open the door for protest rights of individual property owners. Additionally, the notice that was offered clearly, the approach that the city took clearly did not follow our state statute. And the judge briefly, concisely, and I think elegantly pointed that out. And so absent any precedent for the city to base its appeal on, and knowing that an appeal to the third court is strictly de novo, and that the facts are the facts that were laid before the court as stipulated, by the brief. I don't see that any other decision could be rendered. I recognize that there is a chance of that, and I think that's the roll of the dice that may be happening here, and we certainly can have the dice rolled. I do not support rolling the dice for fiscal purposes and for time constraint purposes. An appeal will take months before it's heard. We are looking at April 17 as the deadline to file that appeal. And so that's in front of us, and I recognize the need for us to make a decision here today. And so that's the basis for my motion that we move not to appeal Judge Soifer's ruling.
Got a motion and second. Any further discussion? Councilmember Nunn. Okay. Take a vote. Those in favor of the Councilmember Kitchen.
I don't support the appeal. I don't. I also don't think that this is the right time to pursue an appeal. I think it's an expenditure of resources that are not appropriate or necessary at this time. So, and then I'd just like to say that I do think will be a while before the community is able to focus on the LDC revision. And when that effort is reinitiated, and I believe it needs to be reinitiated, but when it is reinitiated, I am hopeful and I look forward to working with my colleagues in a way that's collaborative. I've long advocated, and others have too, for finding common ground. And especially now, given what our community is going through, I really believe that the true measure of our LDC effort is how well we build consensus, how we foster mutual respect, and how we listen to the community. And I think that's how the city is going to be successful in achieving our adopted goals. So I know that right now, all of us are focused on the health and safety of our community. And we will continue that focus and work very hard together to do what we can for our community. As I said before, I don't think this is I think it's appropriate. I don't think it's the right time to put resources into this appeal.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion, Councilmember Alter?
So, Mayor, I appreciate the chance in the future to continue to work on this, and look forward to do that. That said, we discussed this in executive session. I'll be really brief. I just do not believe this is a time to be fighting our residents in court over their rights after a judge has ruled in their favor. I believe that Judge Soifer was right.
Thank you. Anybody else? Let's take a vote. Those in favor of Councilmember Poole's motion, please raise your hand. It is Poole, Kitchen, and Tovo. Those opposed, please raise your hand. Balance of the virtual dais. Any further discussion? Councilmember Alter?
Yeah, I would like to move to make a motion that the city manager file a motion with the court to extend the deadline to appeal in Acuna versus City of Austin judgment for a minimum of 30 days and preferably 90 days.
There's been a motion. Is there a second to that motion? Councilmember Kitchen seconds it. Any discussion? You can speak to it first, Councilmember Alter, if you want to.
I just think that we shouldn't be spending city resources on this right now, and I feel like this would be an appropriate action under the circumstances.
Further discussion?
I also believe that since we have the opportunity to postpone this, that's a normal and accepted way to proceed with the court case. Given what we're all in the middle of right now and our community is all in the middle of right now, I don't think it's appropriate to move forward, and I think it's more appropriate to postpone this, just as we have many other things.
Pro Tem Garza?
I guess I just want to speak to the fact that we are not choosing to do this during this crisis. There are legal timelines that require us to make a decision. So I don't want anyone, I know nobody was purposely saying that. This is not a choice to be having this tough discussion during this time. This is a matter of legal timelines. And just as I have leaned on and supported legal staff when they believed that we were not violating state law, I continue to support their recommendation to appeal. On that note, could legal speak, if we can, in a public forum, talk about the motion and the timelines and what you believe the court would grant if in fact you believe a 90-day extension is something the court would grant?
We certainly can ask for an extension to follow the notice of appeal. And I don't know what the court would do. Typically, there's a 30-day extension process. You know, the appeal is a long period of time. I think we estimate an appeal would last 9 to 12 months. So changing it 30 days on the front end will not affect necessarily that long period of time.
So I just want to make sure for timeline purposes, if the court denies that, I support an extension, asking for an extension. I agree with concerns about bandwidth, but if the court denies that, my assumption is that the legal would move forward with their what they're recommending. Is that right? Which is an appeal.
That's correct. Well, depending on your vote, I mean, you've already voted, so yes, we'll go forward with the appeal.
My sense is this: I'm going to support this because I don't think anything changes in 30 or 60 days. There are 7 members of the council that want to file an appeal. There are 4 that do not. I think that's been established. I think the appeal then goes forward. And I'd really rather us spend our time and our energy, conversations, and our debates focused on trying to address the issues where we might be able to come together to see if there's something that we can fashion now that would get support and best interests of the city. And I'd rather us as council members and our staff agree that I'd like to be focused on that. But I don't think that a delay would change the decision about whether or not to file the appeal. So I would just assume us put all our energies and discussions and debate in an area where we might be. Councilmember Kitchen. Councilmember Kitchen. You're muted. Go ahead.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, my computer's not unmuting. So you can hear?
Yes, we can hear you. Now
Just
we can't
muted
hear
yourself.
you. You just muted. You're unmuted.
Okay, there we go.
Now you should talk.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys, I'll get the hang of it. So I respect what everyone is saying. We do have the authority to ask the court to delay, and I have to postpone, I guess, or extend the deadline is a better term. And I think that there are 2 reasons to do that. I think that the time that we spend on an appeal right now is not the best use of our time. I also think it's important that we allow more time if anyone wanted to tell us what they thought. So that's why I think that it's appropriate for us to ask for an extension.
Thank you. We vote on the motion from Councilmember Alter. Councilmember Poole.
So I'm curious if we file the appeal and Soifer has invalidated the actions that we took under first and second readings and has directed us specifically to provide notice and provide protest rights to the property owners. what is the city's position on notifying? I'm just going to say not the notification about changing of the zoning, but the notification for protest rights. What actions will the city take at this point to notify property owners that they have protest rights according to the ruling out of the court?
Councilmember Poole, there's nothing that we're going to do right this second. Obviously, the ruling is very public. People know what the judge has said, and there's been lots of conversation about it. There are things I believe that our land development code team and the manager are going to be contemplating bringing forward. If you were going to try and have a third vote on the proposal, we wouldn't allow you to do that because that wouldn't be consistent with the court's order. So
Can you speak
we're
up?
gonna, we'll bring further options to the council in the future about what we can do, but we will not recommend and will not proceed with anything that would be a violation of the court's order, certainly.
Okay. There's been a motion and a second from Councilmember Alter. Anything else? Take a vote. Those in favor of Councilmember Alter's motion, please raise your hand. Alter, Kitchen, Poole, and Tova. Those opposed, please raise your hand. Balance of the virtual dies. Any further discussions on this item? Okay, let's go on then to item number 60.